you come from a land down under, women go and men wonder. Can't you hear the thunder? You better run, you better take cover. Buying bread from a man named Brussels. He was 6'4" and full of muscle. I said, do you speak my language? He just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich. And he said, I come from a land down under.
The Fight Fiend Forecast is back. I'm Joseph, the host, and we're here to talk about the full card predictions for UFC Perth, headlined by Jack Della Maddalena, former champion, versus Carlos Prates, who just took out the former champ Leon Edwards. Headshot KO. What a vicious run Carlos Prates is on right now. The only man to stop him was Ian Gary. Can Jack Della Maddalena do it here in Perth? Let's predict each and every fight. Starting it off with the first fight of the night. Before we get it going, please smash that like button. Suplex the subscribe button if you have not yet. And stay forecasted. Later in the week, we're looking to go live Thursday, Prop Fiends. 9 p.m. Eastern time, probably the time. So stay forecasted. We're going to do it a little early this week. UFC Perth starts 5 o'clock in the morning. For Fight Fiend here in Canada. It's an early start time. So Friday night is a little too late for the Prop Fiend show. So stay forecasted later in the week. Giving out $50 on that show in the live chat as well. Alright, Fight Fiends, let's get it started. First fight of the night in Perth, Australia. It's a good one. At lightweight between Don Marfan, not the Ultimate Fighter winner, the road to the UFC winner. So in his finale, he went out and got a decision win, and that's what Dom Marfan has been doing in his last couple fights, especially onto the road to the UFC. Super calculated, defensively sound, can mix it in with some takedowns, very scrappy on the ground. And 3 unanimous decisions. His last couple fights, he's winning them pretty cleanly. The level of competition, though, it is the road to the UFC, and although the records are looking pretty decent, I don't know if they're that great. I think the level of competition is pretty even in this fight. Kody Steele on the other side is favored to win, and I think it's because of his power, his strength, and his wrestling advantage. Dom Marfan hasn't had a finish in over a year. Last 3 fights went the distance. Level of competition pretty close to what Kody has been seeing. Kody in his last fight, though, in his UFC debut, got not able to get the takedowns. He kind of got outstruck in that one, outstriked, and he struggled a little bit. It was his UFC debut. He's trained that Syndicate MMA with Merab. I think he has the gas tank, the power, and wrestling to go out here and get his first UFC win on Dana White Contender Series. He got a knockout, Kody Steele did, and he had a lot of knockouts on the regional scene, putting away guys. He has power, trained that Syndicate MMA in Las Vegas with Merab, and a great bunch of coaches, training partners. I can't see Kody coming out here looking flat-footed in this one. I actually think he can get the wrestling going, have more reversals in this one on the ground. I know it could be scrappy. The Street Buddha is very good everywheres. And he's defensively sound. And it's in Perth. But I'm going to have a little trust in the line here. I do see a lot of people taking the Street Buddha. Dom Marfan here in Australia. I'm seeing about 70% right now on Tapology, and the line's going the other way. So it doesn't really make sense there. So I'm going to pick Kody Steele. I'm more confident than a lot of people are going to say this week. I'm going to believe in the Syndicate MMA gym, the coaching staff, and his training partners to make serious improvements from his last fight, debut jitter, stuff like that. I think he has fought slightly the better competition too, and he's been finishing guys on the feet. He should have an advantage there with the power. Hopefully he can be more accurate, because in his last fight, that was his problem. He wasn't accurate, and he wasn't accurate with the takedowns either. So on the feet and on the ground, Kody Steele was inaccurate, losing the fight to Rong Zhu, who is very tough and would probably beat Dom Marfan in my opinion. So I think Kody Steele's in for a great fight. It's on the road. It's in Perth. Dom Marfan has that home crowd advantage, but he might have those debut jitters, and the line's going the other way with 70% picking him on Tapology here early in the week. I like Kody Steele. Let's keep going because we have a big favorite next. Don't have to talk about it as long. Jonathan Micallef seems to be taking a step down in competition here. He's 9-1, looking great in the UFC off a big win to Oban Elliott. And Oban Elliott is a fighter that would beat Themba Gorimbo, who is the opponent for Jonathan Micallef here in Australia. Once the Australian Dom Marfan loses, I think the Australian comes out in the next fight, gets the finish. Micallef got the submission in his last fight to Oban Elliott. I don't see much changing in this fight. Themba Gorimbo got submitted to Vicente Luque. He lost his last fight by unanimous decision to Jeremiah Wells, and I think Micallef is better than Jeremiah Wells, and maybe better than Vicente Luque. We'll see what happens here in the future. Vicente just got a nice win to Gaslam, but Micallef, looking at his UFC start, he's been counted out a bit, but he's performed, and he even won a decision too. Looking at it here, his debut, he beat Kevin Gisette decision. He was very well-rounded. Even on the feet, he was accurate with the strikes and powerful. On the Dana White Contender Series, got the submission win. Regional scene, found a couple submission wins. Obviously, on the feet is where he can struggle a little bit. That's where he might need some tuning up. But Themba shouldn't be able to land anything crazy. He's not too powerful. He's not, he won his last two fights in the UFC by a decision against Ramiz Brahimaj and Nico Price. He was unable to finish Nico Price. So I don't think he has the power to finish Jonathan Micallef in Australia. Themba's on a 2-fight losing streak, sponsored by The Rock. I feel like he's not quite UFC caliber. He's going to be a journeyman, win-loss, win-loss. He's 4-3 in the UFC, Themba Gorimbo, and I think he's about to be 4-4. I don't really see a way he can win this fight. Looking at the skill set of each fighter, Jonathan Micallef's better everywhere, and he's levels above Themba Gorimbo. And when I look at the next fight, I would think Ben Johnston might be levels above Wes Shultz because of the price. Wes Shultz is coming in at plus 160, but that's just recency bias. And Ben Johnston in this one, Ben Johnston, he does have that home crowd advantage, but he's making his debut. He never fought on Dana White Contender Series, and his regional scene wasn't too impressive. He had a couple finishes with the submission, but it's going to be tough to submit Wes Shultz here, looking at it. Wes Shultz has 5 submissions of his own. That's the way he likes to win. Whenever Wes got his win on Dana White Contender Series back in October of 2025, he had a nice submission win, and he had a guillotine on the regional scene, some ground and pound wins, and then a Von Flue choke as well. Armbar on the amateur scene. He's no stranger on the ground, and I definitely don't see him getting submitted to Ben Johnston, who out of those 5 wins has 4 submission wins. So really, it's going to be tough for Ben in his debut. Level of competition, not great. He started his career 1-0, lost to a 5-2 opponent, Caleb Rideout. Then he went on to fight a 3-2, 1-0, 0-2, and just recently beat a 7-3 opponent. I don't think he's UFC caliber. He's not ready yet. He's 35. He's also very old in his career. That's something to mention too, if that's correct. Ben Johnston, 35 years old, making his debut. Very low-level competition. Beautiful submission win for Wes Shultz on Dana White Contender Series. Going back to that, I don't see Wes getting submitted. I see Wes getting the submission, if anything, being way better on the ground. On the feet is where Wes is very awkward. His last fight, the recency bias is why people would pick against him, but only if Ben Johnston had those 4 knockouts and not 4 submissions. Ben Johnston is not pretty on the feet. He hasn't been doing much on the feet, and I don't think he's a great striker. Wes Shultz could even be the better striker in this fight, so the odds really shock me. I don't know where they're coming from. I expect odds to come down, so I got to get the Dog of the Week video out as quick as possible. This is looking like the Dog of the Week. Wes Shultz party time. I'm talking about the advantage on the ground, on the feet possibly even. He has more ways to win this fight, Wes does. and he's 29 years old versus the 35-year-old from Australia making his debut. This one reminds me of the Canadian Julien LeBlanc making his debut against Robert Valentin. Odds moved very quick on that one. I don't expect odds to move that quick on this fight. People are going to count out Wes Shultz a bit, but you know Fight Fiend's ready for party time. So I'm going to get that Dog of the Week video ready. Wes Shultz is the Dog of the Week. Ben Johnston has not fought anyone good. He can't go from beating guys 1-0, 0-2, to then making his UFC debut and beating a guy like Wes Shultz. Wes Shultz has over 70 wrestling matches in college, I do believe. He has a good base, and it's wrestling. He's no stranger on the map. I think Wes has a lot of success in this fight at plus 160. Hopefully I can get a better number, but I won't get too greedy with it. Very confident in the Dog of the Week. I think we're going to start to pick up some wins here now, because the last couple weeks and events for the Dog of the Week have been rough, and Davey Grant wasn't even an underdog. Wasn't even plus money. So, party time! Party time! Let's go! Wes Shultz. We're going against two Australians 3 fights in. Now we got to take Colby Thicknesse over Vince Morales. Vince is 35. Colby's 26. Colby's training with Volk and Oski. He's ready to go for this one. He has experience against Alexander Topuria, Elliott Topuria's brother. He's going to be able to get this fight to the ground. He's going to be able to outstrike, pick his shots, and be way more defensively sound than Vince, who is defensive in his own right. He can probably scramble on the ground. He can land some shots on the feet, maybe some damage, but it won't be near enough in Australia to beat Colby Thicknesse. Way too calculated is the youngster, 26, making rapid improvements with that Volkanovski gym. Colby's the play, and the price is what worries me. He could be a bigger favorite over Vince Morales, and Vince is going to be hungry for the UFC win, because if he doesn't, it's 4 losses in a row for Vince Morales, and he got to go. So that is what will worry me, and maybe pause me on a couple bets on Colby Thicknesse. The price is close. A lot of people picking him to win, and the odds don't suggest that yet, but I'm seeing some line movement to give me some faith and trust in the pick, and I don't see a way he can really lose this one to Vince. He's 35. Colby's way younger. He's going to have the gas tank. He's going to have the accuracy. And he's probably going to have the takedowns and do more on the ground, even though Vince is scrappy down there. His last 2 wins are very nice submission wins. He had a Dariush choke and a Peruvian necktie, so you got to be careful. Maybe Vince submission bet to hedge this one out. If not, Colby Thicknesse should be on his way to a decision win with ease. Training with Volkanovski almost every day. Kid's got to be ready to go. And Jacob Malkoun, holy Jesus. The line just continues to grow for him. Now, Colby Thicknesse, the odds were growing, but it looked like there was some buyback. With Jacob Malkoun, it's full steam ahead with the line movement. He just continues to become a bigger favorite. And it's, once again, we got an old fighter. The opponent of Jacob Malkoun is 38, 8 years older. Gerald Meerschaert. He's going to step in and try to fight Jacob Malkoun here, who's just picked up back-to-back wins in the UFC, finally finding his footing in the UFC. That's why the money's coming in. He's going to win this fight with ease, and it probably won't just be a decision. He's not just going to rinse and repeat this one like he can do a lot of other fights. I think he's going to go out here and finish Gerald Meerschaert round 1. The way he took down Cody Brundage and started throwing that ground and pound, I could see Gerald Meerschaert, 1, getting knocked out round 1 because his chin can't hold up, and 2, he gasses out later into round 2 or 3, and he starts playing the game of sit on my back and try to invite you to the ground, being a BJJ nerd, because that's the last resort. And at that point, Malkoun would take the invite, go to the ground and pound him out, or find that submission. So I am leaning a strong finish. Not sure if it's under or over 1.5 rounds exactly, but the finish is a strong pick with confidence this week. Malkoun's just too strong in general for Meerschaert in this one. Looking at the next one, Junior Tafa is back. Come on back. 2-5 in the UFC, 6-5 pro record. He's back Junior Tafa is going to try to get a win here to a one-dimensional Kevin Christensen, who's a slight underdog right now, plus 145. Odds tell me Junior Tafa is going to come out here and get a win. He's going to do it with the striking, keeping it on the feet, avoiding any bad takedowns from Kevin Christensen, who shoots telegraphed takedowns, and they're not very good. It's hard for him to get the fight to the ground. And Tafa on the feet has a skill gap with the striking. He's more likely to get the knockout. The problem is, if he does happen to get taken down, it could be soon over with a submission from Kevin Christensen. I'm going to lean Tafa with the odds, him being favored, getting another chance. They both fought Billy Ellicott in their last fight. Kevin showed us worse striking, and he showed us that he can get submitted quicker. He looked worse in that fight. That's recency bias, but we don't know much about Kevin in general, and I don't like his level of competition or his striking in this fight, where every fight will start on the feet. Tafa's coming back, and I got to take him to win. Never thought I'd see the day, but here we are, and we got Junior Tafa. Do I decide to take a bet on this one? That's another thing, F3 gang. It's F3 for life, not Tafa gang for life. We don't have to bet each and every fight in Australia. Now in the prelim headliner, we got Cam Rowston taking on Robert Bryczek. The 35-year-old Bryczek is the veteran, more experience here. He has power. He has a round 3 knockout recently over Brad Tavares, who's known to be durable. And Bryczek can bark. He can either show he has more experience or he has better striking in this fight. Where Cam Rowston is well-rounded, 6 knockouts, 7 submissions. I think he's going to go to the grappling in this fight and wrestling to try to beat Robert Bryczek. It's going to be close and competitive at times. I don't see Rowston going out here and roasting Bryczek too quick. Bryczek's no bum. He's only been finished twice, not recently either. Last time he was submitted was a long time ago, start of his career 2012. Bryczek's known to be tough and durable. I see him losing a decision here in Perth, Australia, to Cam Rowston, the rising Australian. But the problem is Rowston here on the regional scene hasn't fought the best competition in the UFC. He's getting it done. I just hesitate. At some point, he will take a loss. He's riding a win streak, riding with confidence. It's certainly another tailor-made fight for him, just like Junior Tafa, the fight before it. 2 tailor-made fights for the Australian to go out here and get the win. Not going to overcomplicate it, right? Bryczek's older in this one too, but Bryczek has a little bit more dog in him. He's durable, and he's going to make it potentially closer than Junior Tafa's win. So Cam Rowston has to be smart, defensively sound, and maybe not get hit as much in this one as he did in his last fight. He likes to get into fights, firefights, exchange blows, and that could be a problem with Bryczek, who just recently won by knockout, had a lot of knockouts on the regional scene versus high-level competition, right? Bryczek has been fighting good competition, and he's a decent opponent for Cam Rowston to see where Cam's at right now. Off a win to Cody Brundage, Brandon Holmes, Andre Petrosky. Hard to say where Cam Rowston's exactly at. I know in the regional scene he fought some low-level competition like 3-1, 4-3 prior to the Dana White Contender Series, Colin. So I worry a little bit about his level of competition, strength of schedule. So I'm going to hesitate on some bets, just like Tafa once again. But Rowston, the Australian, is the pick in Australia to get the win. Now let's make some money on this main card. Let's get paid in Perth. We got Tuivasa. Shuey Land is back, and I did not think I would see him fighting ever again. But thankfully, God has a way to give you what you want. 6-fight losing streak. We thought it would end versus Alison Teixeira. Well, it's ending against Louie Sutherland. And that's why Tuivasa's favored here. The question is, are we going to get burned chasing a round 1 knockout? Is he just going to win a decision? His last 2 fights went to a decision. A split decision with Jairzinho Rosenstruck, and then a unanimous decision loss to Alison Teixeira. I have a feeling, a weird feeling, Tuivasa could win a decision here. He could get the knockout round 3 or 2. or knockout round 1. So it's tough to play the props on Tuivasa, but I'm confident he's gonna win this one. Louie Sutherland got heel hooked to Walter Walker and knocked out to someone we're going to talk about on the main card, Brando Pericic. Now he got smoked to Brando and got submitted real quick to Walter. He doesn't look very good. He has a wrestling base, and his level of competition on the regional scene not very good. 5-7, 3-2. So Tuivasa has fought by far the better competition, tailor-made for the Australian to go out here and win, and he should do it with ease. It's the problem of if it's going to be a knockout round 1, round 2, round 3, or just a decision for Tai Tuivasa. I'm going to have to say he's a lock of the week. 6-fight losing streak, dude. He's back in the UFC, tailor-made fight. Couldn't have got a better matchup. This is it. If you want to save Tai Tuivasa's career, keep him around a bit, have some fun at heavyweight, he has to win this one. Tai Tuivasa has to win this fight, and I think he can. He's just fought the better competition. He went to a split decision with Jairzinho Rozenstruik recently. Sutherland has never fought anyone like that, let alone the close fight with Cyril Gane that went to round 3. Tuivasa showed heart in that last one, constantly pushing forward with Taliesin Teixeira. He got caught in a submission to Tybura and Volkov, but that happens. And the Pavlovich fight, he got caught in round 1. I don't see Louie Sutherland having the power or the submission ability to win this fight here. Sutherland's getting smoked and going to Shoey land with Fight Fiends. Tuivasa could be a lock of the week, just to win the fight on the money line. He might be a lock of the week. I said it. The locks aren't great this year either, but if there's a will, there's a way. Shamil Gaziev next, 14-2. The Russian from Dagestan that trains in Bahrain is big and he's tough, but he's fighting Brando Pericic, who's on the home soil here, and he's at City Kickboxing, and he's finished his last 4 fights knockout round 1. Brando is mean, he's lean, and he can throw down
for fiends.
Very accurate, very good strength on his feet. So when people try to get taken down, I feel like they're not very strong on their feet. At heavyweight, the heavier weight class, they're a little top heavy. Brando just seems like a solid motherfucker, and he's going to be hard to take down, you know. But the level of competition isn't great. He knocked out some debuters prior to the UFC and got handed 2 easy matchups in the UFC. Sutherland being one of them, right? So you can't say Brando's a beast yet. Level of competition's low. He's doing what he's supposed to do, and this is by far his toughest fight yet. I can't wait for it. It's heavyweight. Going to be a slugfest. At 36, Shamil has the power. He has the experience, and once again, he has the wrestling in this fight, which could be a problem. Brando wants to keep it on the feet, land that round 1 KO, but the only man to do that was Waldo.
Instead of always asking, where's Waldo, maybe some of you should have been asking, how's Waldo? Good day.
And I don't know if Brando's at that level yet. He's just beaten some low-level competition. To do that to Shamil Gaziev, I doubt that's going to happen. Shamil lost to Rozenstruik late round 4-2. He did get hit a lot. He wasn't the better striker, but I don't feel like Brando can replicate that, although Brando won his last 4 fights by knockout round 1, and he looks like a beast. Certainly he can, but I just don't feel like that's going to happen. I'm leaning with the underdog here. I got to pick a couple underdogs. I have to go against a couple people from Australia, from this region. Got to fade them. You know, can't pick Brando with the low-level experience. Won his last 4 fights, round 1 KO. He's never been tested either or taken to deep waters, round 2 or 3. No clue how he's going to look. He could gas out. And he has lost by submission before. And Gaziev is no stranger on the ground. His submission ability is some high in this fight, in my opinion. And he beat a good wrestler in Thomas Peterson. He also beat Dontel Mays. And he put a beating to Martin Boudet. Dana White Contender Series found a submission as well on the regional scene. He had a couple submissions. And Gaziev, looking at his career at Bahrain, they train real hard, and the ground and pound is also a problem. They have a lot of knockouts over here. Gaziev has 9 finishes by knockout, and 6 were in round 1. So you can't just say Brando's going to be the beast. He's going to smoke Gaziev. Gaziev sucks. He's very good on the feet, too. This is a very close heavyweight fight. I would lean with the value, obviously, on Gaziev. And then I would once try to lean with some experience, which is also on the Gaziev side. So you got the value and the experience. He has to be the pick for me. I think he's going to be stronger on the ground if he can get it there, and I do believe he could. His wrestling is pretty decent in the division, definitely top 15 in my opinion, where Brando might not be ready to break the top 15 yet. He's very green in his career. He's fought some very low-level competition, and he's never really seen outside of round 1. From City Kickboxing, he could be the next big thing. He is a beast, but I'm going to fade him here in Australia. Second fight on the main card. So we're starting it off with 2 heavyweight fights in Perth. It's going to be a party time in Perth. Tim Elliott, huge underdog. Odds don't make sense. Plus 300 for the old Tim Elliott, almost 40 years old, but hey, he won 4 of his last 5 fights, beating high-level competition, and he's cashing in at plus money. So at the plus money price tag, might not be a bad look. Probably should have took Cody Durden last week. Steve Garcia, though, is minus 400, and I know the odds are a little wide. He should go out here and win the fight, though. He's more seasoned on the feet. He has more power on the feet. Tim Elliott's very awkward, and I don't think he's gonna be accurate. Not only with the strikes on the feet, but with the takedowns. I think he will start to slow down, and I think the defense will be good enough from Steve Garcia to keep it upright, stay durable, and just win this fight by a decision, be dominant with the striking, accuracy, takedown defense. That's all he needs to do to win this fight. I just think Steve Erceg, he had the chance a little too early at UFC Gold. He was pushed, and he promised. He got some good wins. But once he fought the upper echelon competition, he had to get some experience. He suffered defeat. Now he's going to start to come in to the prime of his career at 30. And I think we could see one of the best Steve Ercegs yet. And it's more likely for Steve Erceg to land a knockout in this fight, even a submission, rather than Tim Elliott, who has been tough and won 4 of his last 5. Tim's just getting too old for me. Sorry, prelim Tim. But Tim has been submitted 6 times and has 6 decision losses. So on the feet, Erceg does have some crazy power and a nice hook, but it could be a club and sub. I would lean. Tim Elliott on the ground might go for something too, and it could be a problem. Steve Erceg on the regional scene actually had a lot of submission wins rather than knockouts. Steve Erceg has 6 submissions and 2 knockouts. The 2 knockouts were in the UFC. One was in the UFC to match Schnell. But on the regional scene, he had a lot of guillotines, rear naked chokes, arm triangle. With Tim having 6 submission losses and 6 decision losses, I'm leaning sub or decision for Steve Erceg. He's definitely motivated too, Steve, off a number of losses. He picked up a win to Ode Osborne by a decision in his last fight, but that wasn't really enough to say, hey, I'm in my prime, I'm here, and I'm still game for this division. Took the knockout loss to Kai Kara-France round 1. He lost to Pantoja, close decision, and then Brandon Moreno got the best of him by a decision. He really wants a statement fight. It's in Perth, Australia. Steve Erceg's at home here, and I think he goes out, gets it done minus 400. He could get the submission with how many times Tim Elliott has been submitted. I know it's been a minute in the UFC. It was Muhammad Mokaev round 3 since we last seen it. But in 2025, I think it was March, Tim Elliott got submitted round 1 in a grappling match. And he was also submitted to Devison Figueiredo round 1 guillotine. He got caught in the arm triangle to Brandon Royval. So Tim Elliott is just not a stranger of getting submitted. He's been submitted 6 times. He's lost 6 decisions. It's one or the other, really. Steve has 6 submissions of his own, too. So he could easily snatch this up at home. I think he definitely gets the win. The price is tough to pay. Not sure if I'll do it. That's a lot of chalk to lay. A lot of value on the other side. But Tim Elliott's 40 years old. He's won 4 out of his last 5. That can't keep going forever. Although last week, Raoni Barcelos showed us it can keep going forever. Davy Grant proved it too. Now, because of how last week went, it might change people's opinion on this one, especially at flyweight. We've seen the lower weight class Philo and Cody Durden go to work, and Durden pull it off as a big underdog. So with that fight, you would lean with a Tim Elliott pick, especially with the age, seeing Raoni Barcelos and Davy Grant go out and do what they did last week. So I know it's intriguing to take Tim Elliott. Prelim Tim, I know it's intriguing to take him this week, but I don't know if it's going to hit. Certainly value on the side and worth a shot, though. So credit to Prelim Tim and Tim Elliott if they can pull this off. But at plus 300, father time could be here. Steve Erceg's ready to go at home, and he is the official pick. Now at the next prediction, we're going to talk about the line and the odds once again. These odds don't make sense. The odds are wide once again, and I'm not going to say you're a fool for taking the underdog. I'm not going to do it personally. Probably take a bet, though, on the underdog. But here we go. We got Quillan Salkilld minus 450 versus Beneil Dariush. Dariush is a tough fighter to predict. I know he's been knocked out a lot, but it was to Charles Oliveira, Arman Sarukian, and Benoit Saint Denis, and I don't see Quillan Salkilld being at that level yet. He's very good. He smoked Nasrat Hakbers with the head kick round 1, but we've seen the decision with Yanel Ashmoose and Gage Young showing that, hey, he's not going to finish everyone, and he's not just some killer. Those fights were recent too, and then the Malarkey fight, he got another quick round 1 finish. So if he gets tested, if it goes outside of round 1, we could see a decision win for Quillan Salkilld, being more technical, mixing in the grappling, being 10 years younger, being longer in this fight with the reach advantage too. But the finish could be a trap right now. A lot of people are going to pick Salkilld by knockout. Actually, 96% of people picking Salkilld this weekend on Tapology have him to win by KO. So I can almost say that's not going to hit. Although Dariush got smoked to Benoit Saint Denis recently, he went out and beat Renato Moicano unanimous decision and Mateus Gamrot unanimous decision. That was 3.5 years ago, but he still did it, and he looked damn good versus Renato Money Moicano. You just don't know what you're going to get. 3 out of the last 5, we got a quick round 1 finish. That's obviously what the UFC wants. You got to think about that too, right? What does the UFC want in this matchup? They probably want the Australian to go out here and get the round 1 KO. So if you think that, put a little bet on it. But I wouldn't put the house, and I'm not calling it a lock of the week. I'm not even calling Quillan a lock of the week this week. You know, in the regional scene prior to the UFC, it was some low-level competition. That's what it's like on the Australian regional scene. Some pretty low-level competition. So you just don't know what you're going to get once they start fighting North Americans, Russians, Brazilians, just a mix of the world. It's tougher at the UFC level, but Quillan's going out there getting wins, 2 by a decision, 2 knockouts and a submission recently. He can mix it up. He's 10 years younger. It is a tailor-made fight set up for him to win, but it's never that easy sometimes. So Quillan is not officially a lock this week. I'm not comfortable betting him at minus 450 either, but the decision could be a sneaky play. Beneil could hold up and be durable here, show us he has some experience, test the young gun, and give him a run for his money. But realistically, Quillan's winning this fight. He easily could knock out Beneil round 1, and you just can't pick against that. You can't pick Beneil Dariush and how quickly he can get knocked out in this fight, realistically. I know how easy it can happen, but I know how many people are picking that to happen and how much money is going to be on that. So I'm taking Quillan Salkilld by a decision. We're on to the main event of the evening where Jack Della Maddalena and Carlos Prates go to war, start throwing hands, and I'm feeling a finish. Someone's going to have to gas out in this fight. I feel like a lot of energy is going to be exerted exerved, used, exonerated. A lot of energy being used early in this one. They're going toe-to-toe. Someone wants to get back into title contention. Jack Della Maddalena, former champ here, just lost Islam Makhachev, and it was a close fight. You know, and they're wondering who's going to fight Islam next. Carlos Prates off that win to Leon Edwards. You thought maybe he was the next guy. Even Michael Morales could be the next guy, but there's still some work to do in this division, and we're about to see what happens in Perth. I can't wait for it. Carlos the Nightmare is a nightmare for anyone with his power. It seems like one strike and it's good night, right? So you don't want to pick against that. You obviously want a little bet on Carlos Prates KO, but how durable is Jack Della Maddalena at the end of the day? He's eaten many shots over his career. He's been standing strong, durable. Some close fights, a split decision with Kevin Holland and Basil Hafez.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But he's eaten damage and came back in fights. He's went toe-to-toe with some of the best in the division. He has by far more experience at this point, fighting Belal Muhammad 5 rounds and Islam 5 rounds. So Carlos Prates, the gas tank, is the biggest worry for me with saying that. And Jack is tough and durable. So with saying that, I don't think Carlos can land a crazy knockout highlight reel in this fight. He went recently 5 rounds with Ian Gary and lost that one. It was into round 3, 4, and 5 where he gassed out and Ian started to put it on. Ian's accuracy was also a big problem throughout the fight. Ian was defensively sound, picking his shots, and more accurate. Jack isn't really like that. He's willing to get into dirty boxing range and go to war. So it might just come down to cardio, or we could even see Jack get caught on the chin. If he's willing to play it dirty, he could be done dirty. And Carlos Prates landed a highlight reel on Jeff Neal before the Leon Edwards fight, and he did it to Neil Magny and Li Jingliang too. So this kid is powerful. He's at a good gym, the Fighting Nerds, and he's ready to bang. He has momentum on his side. Just such a close fight. Both guys, the best in the division right now, and Jack Della Maddalena has proven to be tough. So him to get knocked out and put on a highlight reel at home seems unrealistic to me, and I think he's going to put up one hell of a fight. I think he's just going to bite down on the mouthpiece, go toe-to-toe, and drag Carlos into deep waters. It's the pressure, the relentlessness, and the durability that's going to win him the fight. Carlos Prates is caught smoking after fights, drinking, and having some fun. Although he's at a great gym, training hard each and every day, Jack Della Maddalena might have the championship caliber material and mindset to win this fight. He just went 5 rounds with Islam Makhachev and Belal Muhammad. He's a tough guy to finish, Jack Della Maddalena. Looking at his last number of fights, he's been going toe-to-toe, and I know it was a split decision with Kevin Holland and Basil Hafez that really got me off the Jack Della Maddalena train, but I'm going to start to jump back on board as I believe in his durability and cardio is going to play a big factor in this stylistic fight with Carlos, the Nightmare Prates. In Perth, Australia, I'm taking another Australian, Jack Della Maddalena, to finish the night strong, being the stronger fighter all around, and not going to rely on Carlos Prates and that one-punch power. It's going to be one hell of a fight. They're going to go toe-to-toe like Jack Della Maddalena likes to do. Let's see if he can hold up. Let's see if you can hold up that like button and suplex the subscribe button. If you have not yet, tune in for more. F3's back throughout the week doing live streams, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Not sure if I'm going to go live for this event because it's going to be 5 o'clock in the morning. Sun's going to be rising. So we'll see what happens there later in the week. Let me know in the comments below if you're enjoying the streams and what's your favorite pick this week in Perth, Australia. Cheers, everybody. Hopefully we all make some smart decisions and money in Perth. And let's do a shoey, too. Let's see a shoey for once. Should we? Should we?